So we've got Charlie Tully Jr. It's going to join us here now, and hopefully. Hello, Charlie. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Everything's good this end. So we're live here on the Celtic Crack. It's both on Facebook and on YouTube. So we're going to be talking
Brilliant.
about the legend that was your father. Where do you start with your dad, Charlie? I don't know. I suppose we can start with his youth. He was born McDonald Street away back in 1924.
Yep, born on the 11th of July, 1924.
Yeah, your dad made a great quote.
Was
Yeah, about him being born on the 11th of July, didn't he?
He just didn't make the 12th.
He just didn't make it 12th. Yeah, he done a great quote about that way back in the day, saying he would have really been awkward to be born on the 12th.
It would have, very awkward. So, Tony, he was the second child of a family of 12.
Right, I didn't realise.
One of 7 footballing brothers.
Yep. I've known a few of them, and as I was growing up, I knew Peter, and I'd known Billy very well.
Yeah, great characters.
Every one of them, yes, 100%. And of course, being young, how did Charlie really discover that he had a special talent? What sort of teams was he playing for in the lower falls away back there?
Yeah, in his junior rank days, he played for White Rock, Forth River and Ballyclare Comrades.
Right. Didn't realise he played for Ballyclare. Yeah.
Yeah, and he spent part of a season on loan at Cliftonville for 10 matches, 1942.
Yes, I'd understood, because Cliftonville really have them. No, the claim we had the great Charlie Tully up there at Solitude. I've seen a few the 1 or 2 old pics of him in a Cliftonville jersey.
That's right. There's a wonderful photograph in the museum of him.
Yes,
in the Cliftonville kit.
Yeah, because my dad back then was in the strollers, and he was in awe that Charlie had come up there, and he was in the first team, of course. He didn't sort of hang about there too long because he was too much of a talent. Then I think a big leash had eyes on him and brought him back for the first team.
Yes,
Belfast Celtic.
You're quite right. He was signed by the great Elisha Scott, Lish to his friends.
Yeah. And
Lish, as you know, played 429 times for Liverpool and was capped 31 times.
Yeah, he's their
He was, as I understand it, Tony, the Cop's first idol.
Yep, we done the museum tour of Liverpool there a few years ago. Me and young Dagman here, and there's a massive wall of a photograph of him, big massive wall, and a quote from him on it as well. So he is a massive idol to them. It's over there, unreal.
No doubt about it.
Yep.
And I mean, he came to Belfast Celtic in 1935. He stayed until the very end, and he managed basically what was a ghost team for the last 10 years. But you're right, he signed my dad.
Oh, brilliant. And people don't recognise that the Leash was probably, in world football, one of the most successful managers of all time, considering how short of a time he was there. The kind of silverware he brought to Belfast Celtic was unreal, wasn't it?
It was absolutely incredible. It included 8 Irish Cups, 10 Irish Gold Cups, 10 Belfast City Cups, and 8 County Antrim Shields.
What an amazing tally of trophies he brought to the club.
And in the 39-40 season, Belfast Celtic played 37 successive games without defeat. And in the 47-48 season, 31 successive games without defeat. That takes a bit of doing.
Yeah, and this road was so proud of them. As you know, my father was lucky enough to play a couple of games in the hoops away back.
Yes,
in the
isn't
day.
that fantastic?
Yeah, and he was a great friend of your father's as well, and of course all the brothers. Charlie's name was forever spoken in our house as much as the Lord's name was, with him being religious as well. Charlie was just, we were in awe of him. We never knew him growing up, but we certainly knew who the iconic figure was. He was just unreal as an iconic footballer, and so proud that he came from Belfast to be that. So when Charlie, how did his move to Celtic happen? Which way did that come together?
Well, as I understand it, Belfast Celtic had played a friendly against Glasgow Celtic in the 47 season, and my dad had a pretty good game, and Celtic had basically noticed him. But I understand at that time Matt Busby had also expressed an interest at Manchester United in signing him. But whenever it came down to the wire, there was only one team my dad wanted to play for and sign for, and that was the Hoops, and Belfast Celtic to go to Glasgow. Had to be.
Oh, brilliant. I did see now, I was actually doing a wee bit of looking up today, and I was also seeing that Preston North End were interested in him, Blackburn were interested in him as well back then. So it was an array of football clubs, and he chose to go across. Jimmy McGrory would have been manager back then, wouldn't he have? Yeah, Jimmy.
The iconic Jimmy McGrory. My goodness, yeah. What a legend he is in his own right. But yes, he was signed by Jimmy McGrory, £8,000.
Big money in those days.
1948. Yeah. June 48.
Big money in those days, wasn't it? £8,000.
It would have been. I would have thought a fortune, to be honest.
Yeah. But I was trying to explain to some of the young ones who, with the way Charlie was not just a footballer. It's long before George Best. He was a fashion icon. He was top of his game. He was writing articles for newspapers. He was writing books. He was making records. He had in Glasgow cocktails named after him, ice lollies named after him. He was certainly the celebrity footballer, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think probably of his era, Tony, it's fair to say that he was the first football celebrity, if you know what I mean. He was the press loved him because he was always good for a quote or a bit of crack. He had a bit of a mischievous personality, and he just loved playing football. That was it, and in particular playing for the Celtic.
Yeah, after the war years and all, when he had joined Celtic, were looking out for a great player, and it was just by really chance and a friendly came across and seen how good that your father was, and managed to get him over there, and he finally made his debut in 1948.
48-49 season, a goalless draw against Morton.
Yeah, no.
I think it's fair to say that Celtic of that time and the season before were very much in the doldrums. The results hadn't been good, although Jimmy McGrory had been a wonderful player in his own right. Managerially, he struggled. I think it's fair to say that Celtic of that era didn't particularly spend a lot of money.
Yeah, there's a lot of boardroom stuff that went on there as well, as it did in the 90s. Like, it's
no doubt about that.
Yeah, they did mess about. And your father finally came in and gave the Celtic a massive lift. I think is the game that really put him out on the pedestal was the 3-1 win against Rangers, where he totally bossed the game.
3-1, you're right. I mean, apparently that was the old Rangers defence was referred to then, Tony, as the Iron Curtain defence. Which
That's right.
Basically, they were very difficult to penetrate. But I think on that particular day, as I understand it, it was quoted that Tully dribbled about the pitch almost at will. The miraculous Irishman bewildered, badgered and mesmerised Rangers. So that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, it's like a Belfast boy to go over and do that. Like, to be honest, they'd had Mickey Hamill before that. Nobody would have remembered probably Mickey Hamill, but when your dad went over there, it really invigorated the Belfast Celtic fans because of the death of, the club here in Belfast.
Correct.
A lot of people threw their heart and soul into Glasgow Celtic, and Charlie seemed to lead the way, the new force, and everybody started travelling over from here, because I used to love the stories of even, listening to my dad and also Billy and Peter. Them was going over in the boat, which was called the cattle boat, as they called it back then.
Yes.
Going over to
up at Brimalo with a cattle on board, yeah.
Yeah, the cattle, and then the smells on it, and they used to bring their bottles of I don't know what they drank then. Maybe they brought whiskey. I don't know if Buckfast or whatever it even was made back then. But they all headed over in their masses just to go to support Charlie, then to support Celtic, and this is how all our love started being brought into the club, and how our children and our children's children have all become Celtic fans. It was all maybe just because of the Charlie Tully transfer and the death of Belfast Celtic, really.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that the two coinciding as they did meant, you're quite right, that a lot of Belfast Celtic fans transferred their allegiance to Glasgow and followed my dad, and that must have been great for him as well, to have that support and love.
Yeah, any stories about any of the oil hands that used to come from Belfast? Because I know Charlie looked after loads that came from Belfast, and Belfast Celtic fans had all made it over. Because that overnight boat, the old cattle boat, it was 12 hours or something that they used to have to sit in it for. And Charlie
I think it's fair to say of the time that he would be constantly tapped for briefs or tickets. And I mean, I think it's fair to say over his time there, he had done his best to get as many lads fixed up and sorted out as best he could. It was an era, Tony, as you know, when players were, generally speaking, abused and disrespected by club management, not the fans. Now the fans absolutely adored them. So it was all about the love of pulling on the jersey and entertaining the crowd, particularly the jungle.
Yeah, back then. But the stories that I mean, really regret not sitting down with my father and putting the tape recorder on and putting knowing like a historical speak with him together, the way you used to talk about your father when he went over there. I really regret not putting that on a tape, the way you spoke about getting over to Glasgow.
As I understand it, Tony, whenever you played on that side of the park where the jungle was, if you were having a bad game, they were soon quick to let you know.
Oh,
I think there was a lot of rapport and a lot of banter went on during the game or at corner kicks.
Oh, I would say so. That jungle was a hell of a mad place, even when I was in it in my youth. But way back in the 40s and the 50s, they'd certainly let you know with the industrial language that was in Glasgow at the time. So when he was there, he played with some great players, didn't he? You know what I mean? He was a superstar in amongst a lot of stars as well there. Notably,
you're right. I mean, when you think of the era and the different teams, but I mean, there were, Willie Fernie, Bertie Peacock, Bobby Evans, Jock Steaton, to name but a few, the McPhail brothers. These guys were all wonderful talents. And then, again, going back then, young boys coming through at the time who played with my dad laterally towards the end of his career would have been Billy McNeil and Bertie Auld, John Fallon, etc., who all remember him very fondly.
Yeah. I've a few photographs that I do have of a very young Billy McNeil, and as I say, Bertie Auld. Bertie's been a great friend of yourselves throughout the years as well. He's been over for a few talks about Charlie.
You're quite right. Bertie has been Bertie's been an absolute, not only a Lisbon lion, a total and complete legend and gentleman. Anytime we've asked him to help us in any way through the Belfast Celtic Society or direct with anything connected with my dad, he's the first to volunteer, get on a plane and come over, and we were honoured to have him at my dad's 40th anniversary in 2011, and he presented me with a photograph and an international cap that Celtic had in their museum at Parkhead.
Oh, fantastic. I was actually at that because Declan, he was a young buck back then, and I brought him into the cemetery the time he went down to give the speech at the grave. And he took Declan aside. That's how much of a gentleman, as you well know, Charlie was. He took Declan aside and started talking about his whole career to him. And I says, Bertie, we're going to have to go. He says, no, where are you going? I says, no, Bertie, they're going to close the cemetery. I says, we're going to have to go. That's how much of
Yeah.
a legend he was. He'd have talked on the.
He's
He was
an
just-
incredible man, isn't he? Really.
He really is. He really, and he's funny. He really is. He's some great stories to tell.
He has. Yeah. He tells a fantastic one, Tony, about when he was a young player and my dad was in the team. Pre-season, he used to go to Largs and places like that to train on the sands and run up and down hills. So it's the first day of training, and Birdie's there, Billy McNeil, they're all young boys looking up to my dad. Go out, we're training with Cheeky Charlie today, this will be fantastic. So my dad was saying to them, now look boys, you have to take this serious, first day of training, let's get out here, do it, get a good sweat up, and what I want to say to you is that I'm going to be first out and the first back.
Right.
So Birdie looks at Billy McNeil and says, the first back, Charlie? Like, no disrespect, but I mean, you're not a youngster anymore. He says, I'll be the first back now, boys. Once I've done this couple of mile. So Birdie said, right, fair play. So out they went, running round, sweat lashing off them, hot day. And eventually, about 5 or 10 minutes from the end of the session, this motorbike goes by with my dad on the back of it. Shouting, you who, yaha, I told you at the first back.
Don't call him Cheeky Charlie for nothing. Excellent.
And Bernie says, we all looked at each other and went, well, is that just typical Tully?
Absolutely brilliant. And I'm sure there's hundreds of those stories. We all know of his cheekiness. So let's get more into his football career.
Yeah.
Right, so that we've dealt with. The one that really got him noticed was when he took the on Rangers with the 3-1 win that day. But
yeah,
there was talk in that game that he actually sat on the ball. Do you know?
On the ball, I understand that.
Yep,
yes.
Yep. Sean Fallon, I think Sean Fallon played in that game, and Sean says he had that darn right cheek. He says, when he got the ball and the ball come over. Now, I've seen Lubo Maracek take the ball down with his backside, but you know what I mean? They actually sit on the ball.
They sit on it, and yeah, you're right. Sean Fallon there, a wonderful man again. You're right, he did that. He had a couple of other tricks, Tony, as you know, where at a throw-in or a shy ball, as they called it, he would have taken the throw-in and bounced it off the back of the opponent and just play it on.
Yeah,
and then the other thing he would have done was he'd have looked at an imaginary watch on his wrist and pointed it at the opponent and pushed the ball by him and run by him.
Oh, brilliant. You would hardly think of this happening in the 40s and 50s. You know what I mean? You wouldn't, you know what I mean? Modern players...
I don't know where he got this from. I think this was just part of the Tully mischief, to be honest.
The mischief of it. Because in later years, you've seen a couple of Premiership players do this, know all the money and thing about it, and you all think they're great and they're a joke. And there was your dad doing it in the sort of 40s and 50s. You know what I mean? He was generations before his time. He really was.
There's no doubt. Absolutely incredible, isn't it? Wonderful.
Yeah. The one a lot of people are asking about is the Coronation Cup. Now, I know he missed the final, but he'd run ragged when we played Manchester United.
Yes, you're right. The Coronation Cup, as you know, Tony, was a competition in around May '53. It was the top 4 English clubs, which was Arsenal, Man United, Newcastle and Tottenham. And the 4 Scottish clubs were Celts, Rangers, Hibs and Aberdeen. And you're right. My dad missed the finals through injury, but he played in the semi-final against Man United. I think they beat Man United 2-1. Something like 73,000 at that game. And that Man United team, Tony, included 3 players who were Curry, Valett and Byrne.
Yeah.
Who, as you know, would become Busby Babes.
That's true. Yes. Yep, I looked into that.
So that was an incredible team. And, funny enough, my dad they all got replica Coronation Cups, kind of miniature trophies. And I still have that original. I have it in the museum.
Yeah, a lot of people asking about...
on show.
Yeah. whatever happened to a lot of the trophies and medals, that Charlie had acquired throughout his career. Have you still got most of them in your possession, or the Johnny McCauley had asked
no,
that?
Unfortunately, whenever my dad died suddenly, Tony, in July '71, he had a number of medals and international jerseys that he had got, England and Scotland jerseys he had swapped at the end of games. He had George Young's jersey, he had Billy Wright's jersey. But because my dad died and there wasn't too much money around at the time, those items were auctioned.
Right. So do you believe they're private collectors, Hans, or the
yeah, private? As I understand it, private collectors. They raised something like £3,000 in total, which
oh God, no.
Probably was relevant at the time, but not that relevant without being disrespectful.
Yeah.
But that left us with very little, to be truthful, at the end of the day going forward.
Yeah, that does. Shocks me that, so much of his stuff is probably within private collectors. You would hope they would have a wee bit of empathy about them and maybe, come forward and at least show you them and let you know that they're in their possessions.
That would be great. And let's be honest, we would be honoured just to display them. We wouldn't want to own them. It's just that if they're sitting in a drawer or a suitcase somewhere, they're not really serving their purpose.
Well, the good thing about this wee show, Charlie, it's getting shown all around Celtic supporter sites all around the world. And hopefully, if anybody's any information on where they are, listen, we're not going to go around and kick people's doors in and demand the medals back or anything. It's just let the family know they're in your possession, let you see them, and know that they're safely somewhere. And I think that's fantastic. Like that,
one of the things that I do have and cherish is I have my dad's 1955 original Glasgow Celtic contract.
Yeah.
Signed by Jimmy McGrory and my dad for £12, 12 shillings, 12 guineas a week.
12 guineas? That's £12, is it? That's all mad to me. £12 a week. He was on back
12 shillings.
Yeah.
And whenever the close season comes, in other words, whenever the football stops, the pay stopped.
Yeah. Right.
So you have to think, Tony, of the era. The crowds from back then were, in my dad's day, cup finals of 100,000 and more at Hampden.
That's right. Yep, you would get 100,000 easy.
And yet, let's be honest, while the clubs may have been taking in a lot of money, it didn't find its way to the players of that era.
No, it didn't. Even in the 80s, I think the Real Madrid game, they said there were 60,000 in that stadium that night. It was more like 100,000. Yeah, because even back then we were crouched in it. It was absolutely bunged, and they just put it down to 60,000. You know which way the Celtic board were working back then. You know what I mean? It was
correct. You're right.
There was, I think, the Willie Mealy factor of no bags of money, all around the place, and it doesn't make its way to the players. Even the Lisbon Lions team arguing over a pound extra a week per player. That was
unbelievable,
madness, wasn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah. So here, 53. We're in the year 53. We've sort of touched a wee bit. What sort of injury did he get that kept him out of the final? Do you know that yourself, Charlie?
I don't know, to be honest. But I would think that would probably have to have been something pretty serious, because you can imagine playing in all the games up to it and then missing the final itself.
Yeah. Maybe took a knock or something in the semi.
I think again, that era, players were asked to play very often when maybe they weren't 100% fit anyway.
Yeah. You could have got away with it. No, you could have got another player to pull their socks up and maybe, help you out a little bit. But also in that year, 53, there was a Scottish Cup tie at Brockville. Celtic were 2 down, and your dad played an absolute stormer to pull Celtic's socks up and get them over the line with a 3-2 win, and it's one of the iconic games.
You're right. Scottish Cup 3rd round, 23,000 all ticket sellout. and Celtic are 2-0 down at half time, and it would seem that in the first half, my dad didn't get a kick at it. In fact, he was quoted as being looking disinterested.
Right.
That Falkirk team, by the way, included 2 former Celtic players, Jack Weir and Jimmy Delaney.
Well, the great Jimmy Delaney, yes.
Yep. So in the 53rd minute then, Celtic got a corner kick on the left wing. My dad put it down, took the corner kick, boom, straight in the back of the net. Celtic fans went daft, wild. Came onto the pitch celebrating, thinking this is the start of us getting back. And the linesman consulted the referee, and the referee said no goal. The ball was placed outside the arc.
Right.
So my dad standing at the corner flag with his hands on his hips, looking a bit petulant, I think. He hands the ball to the linesman for it to be retaken.
Right.
And being the tight, small ground it is at Brockville, there was a policeman's coat sitting on the tarmac right at the corner flag. So my dad took a kick at that before he took the corner kick and landed that into the crowd.
somebody got a free coat out of it there.
And he retook the corner and boom, in she goes again, straight in. An absolute pandemonium.
Oh, he was unreal at doing
that. They went on to win the
he?
game 3-2.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. He was unreal at taking corners, wasn't he? It was. He'd done it for the North as well, over at Windsor Park against England. You put the ball straight into the net. Yep. I actually got a wee bit of footage of that today, thanks to Martin.
Yes.
Martin had put that online. So there's great footage, and there's also fantastic.
That was a famous game against South Ramsey. In fact, it was Ramsey's last England game. He never got selected again.
Yeah.
Gil Murrick was the England keeper at the time. That was that was probably one of my dad's best ever performances in an Irish jersey.
Yeah, because you don't see skill like that. No, I've watched a load of old Pathy News games, and when I've seen that, and I've seen the skill of Charlie Tully being back there, back heels, little flicks, and I was going, you don't see this in the old Pathy News reels. It was just unreal to see him. And, you know what I mean? Because there's not much footage of Charlie out.
Incredible.
It's a sad thing, isn't it?
Well, funny enough, there doesn't seem to be an awful lot.
But there's bits and pieces now coming through.
Sorry,
there's bits and pieces that seem to be making its way through.
Yeah. There are bits and pieces, yeah, but there doesn't seem to be an awful lot from that period now, to be honest. But any wee bits or wee glimpses we've seen are certainly they're wonderful just to have, you know.
Yeah. And I managed to. Well, I'm going to do it after you go off. Offer. I got a wee piece of the 57 Cup final. So I'm going to fire it on. Maybe if you are watching online, you'll see it in the background as well.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you. I appreciate it.
A lot of people asking about the 57 Cup final here. It must be an absolute privilege to say my father played in that, and he was probably the man of the match of the day, of what a hero that everybody talks. My father was at it. I remember my daddy talking about it. He says that was the greatest game of his life.
Well, I mean, I think when you think of it now, looking back how long ago it is, the scoreline that just tore Rangers apart. And there's no doubt about it. I think it's fair to say my dad had a helping hand in most of the goals.
Yes. It's of course.
I think that would go down as one of his greatest games, and certainly constantly looked back on and reflected upon.
Yeah, everyone who played in that team that day, you know what I mean? They're just as iconic as the Lisbon Lions, and it's also a world record still to this day. Biggest cup final win in professional football.
Wow.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. There's people asking, Johnny Macaulay in Paisley wants to know, do you still have your dad's medals and memorabilia from the 7-1 games?
No,
that was another one that went as well.
Yeah, we only have one international cap and one medal.
And that's all you have in your possession?
That's all we have. Everything else was auctioned.
Right, right. So, Celtic supporters listening out there, if you know of anybody that has any Charlie Tully memorabilia within their homes, please contact me or contact the Belfast Celtic Museum or
Thank
contact
you.
Charlie directly. And as Charlie had says, you know what I mean, they're not looking at back. They just want to probably make a history of where it all is in the world, and that Celtic supporters have a wee look at it. That's basically what you would want, Charlie, wouldn't it?
That's exactly what we want. Yes, honestly, it's only to honour the memory.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, hopefully that couple of wee words might pick a few years up, and you never know what might come out of it. Kathy Clampenson, she's in New York here. She's got a question for you. Says, have you any memories from Charlie's birthday on the 11th bonfire night?
Any memories of
Charlie, no, he was born on the 11th of July,
yes.
So there would have been bonfire night. So did Charlie have an extra special birthday? Get into the 11th of July under the 12th.
Oh yes, definitely. He would have celebrated it big time. I think anybody that knew my dad well knew that he liked a wee drink.
Yes.
And a bit of crack.
Oh, brilliant. So I'd answer Kathy's question. Your dad owned a bar, didn't he, in Glasgow?
He did. He owned a bar in Glasgow, yes, for a while. That's correct, yes. Yep. In the Gorbals, as I understand it.
Right. Can you remember what you called it? I'm sure there's a few Celtic fans listening who probably drank in it back in the day.
No, I'm not sure if it was just Tully's bar or what, but I've often heard it referred to now, to be honest.
Right. Paul Hasty, I don't know, you probably know his father. He used to play for Distillery. He
yes.
was an iconic player. He had the one arm. He used to play for Distillery.
Yeah.
Yep, he's on.
Indeed, yes.
He wants to know what you think Charlie's most important goal of his career was. Well, it'll be for Belfast or Glasgow.
Oh boy.
Is there one goal that stands out?
I think I'm right in saying in the 1947 Irish Cup final, he scored the only goal against Glentoran to win Belfast Celtic the Cup. That would be one of them.
Yeah.
Now, looking at his career, I think I'm right in saying during his Belfast Celtic era, he played 139 games and scored 49 goals.
Yep, yeah, I'm just checking that out. That's exactly what he did. Yep.
Yeah, and I think I'm right in saying that with Glasgow Celtic, 319 matches and 47 goals.
I know. How are you supposed to pick one out of those?
It's really difficult. It is really.
You got to say that corner kick. Yeah, know what I mean.
The corner kick, definitely. The fact that he had to do it again, and then I suppose the international against England, 52 at Windsor, again to be able to score direct from a corner again, fantastic.
Right, I've got my son with me, Declan. This is Smokey's grandson here, so he's a couple of questions.
Hi Declan, hello.
Hi Charlie, how are you?
I'm good, great to talk to you, thank you.
Yeah, likewise. Just a few questions here. How many players from the past at Celtic or Belfast Celtic or whatever have told stories about your dad that's stuck out?
Stories that stuck out.
So what are the best characters that would tell stories about your father?
Well, a big buddy of my dad's at Belfast Celtic would have been Jackie Vernon. He would have been able to tell a great story of the Glasgow Celtic era. Billy McNeil, Bertie Auld, fantastic guys. Sean Fallon.
Oh, legend! Yeah. That's Jackie Vernon that had the butchers on the Springfield Road.
That's right.
Yeah. Remember Jackie? Yeah. Jackie was a gentleman. Yep.
Gentleman, lovely man.
He was
and Sean Fallon, a terrific guy, Sligo man, wonderful man.
Oh yeah, he's one of the iconic legends as well. Great. Right, go ahead, Dax.
And then next one, I believe Jock Steen stayed in touch with you, and if you had any great memories of him in the past.
Well, I've got to be honest with you, not particularly, but whenever Jock sadly passed away, Bertie Peacock contacted me and asked me would I like to accompany him to Glasgow to Big Jock's funeral. And he thought that it would be fitting for me to be there on behalf of my dad. So it was an honour and a privilege to be able to go and do that and be in such esteemed company. You know, I mean, Big Jock's funeral will be well remembered, but it was a who's who of football at present, of the day and of old.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Surely sticks out as one of the great managers. And I believe Charlie went over to Lisbon for the 67 European Cup final.
He did indeed. He was actually doing a bit of journalism for the Irish News at that time, and as I understand it, whenever a lot of the guys arrived at Lisbon at the airport, got off the plane, there was a massive queue of what looked like literally hundreds of people, and some of the guys thought they must be saying mass or getting a blessing. But apparently my dad was in the airport and they were queuing up to get his autograph.
Okay.
Bertie all tells a wonderful story about my dad being in the hotel in Lisbon before the game, and the Scottish press sort of pounced on him and said, well, Charlie, what do you think? Would you get in? Would you have got into this present Celtic team? And in typical Tully fashion, he quit. Well, I suppose I could always have took the corners.
Oh, legend. That's right. I remember that the Irish News, I was just trying to remember, I've seen some great photos today, and I remember that the Irish News had brought him over for the Lisbon final. There's some great photographs, I don't know where you've seen them through a few Celtic sites, that somebody had 6mm reel film and he's put it online, and I've seen your father in it, and there was some great photos have come up with your father on the pitch as well.
Isn't that fantastic?
And they're all going about, and I make sure that I go around the sites and find out where they are, and I make sure they're documented, and I keep them on and drop them to Martin, and he can bring them down to the museum.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Appreciate that, Tony. Thank you.
Right, Declan, go ahead.
Yep, and filling out the day is the anniversary, the 50th anniversary of when Feyenoord beat Celtic in the European Cup final. Was he at that one in Milan when Feyenoord beat Celtic?
When was that? Sorry.
The 1970 European Cup final, which was Celtic versus Feyenoord. If he went over to that one,
he was at that one. Yeah.
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 Any stories from your dad over that?
Sorry?
Was there any stories of your dad over that? In other words,
Well, I'll tell you, do you remember the Leeds games?
Yes.
Famous Battle of Britain, as it were.
Yep.
They were deemed Leeds United Celts.
Yes, he was. Go ahead, Charlie.
When would that have been, Tony? Now,
that would have been 1970. Yep, that was the semi-final. So they were played in sort of.
I went to
April.
Glasgow with them. Now, 1970, I would have been 20 then, and we went to the game, and we were queuing up going into the game, and quite literally from nowhere, there's, I wouldn't exaggerate saying this, 300 or 400 people accumulate around my dad at the turnstile.
I can well
all
imagine.
Looking to get photographs and shake his hand and get a chat with him. And eventually the police had to come and move them all on and get us into the ground. Oh. And I mean, you know, as a young boy, and I mean, I was still relatively young then, again, that brought home to me, my God, this man really is, he's something special.
Yeah, he's a god, the Celtic supporters, really is. Right, Dax, go ahead again.
Yeah, just the last question. I would say that Charlie was probably the Henrik Larsson of back then, and I think me as a young Celtic fan have learned through him through the songs, and how probably future young Celtic fans are going to learn through him through the songs, and that'll just get people going, and I'm sure that gives you immense pride, and that young people will be learning about Charlie Tully for years to come.
Declan, I can say this honestly, my heart just beats with pride. You know, it's awesome to think what the man achieved, what he did, his love of the game, his love of the fans, to not just to play for one great Celtic, but two great Celtic clubs is quite incredible. And to be honoured and revered and loved, I mean, sadly he'll be dead 50 years next July. That's just absolutely awesome.
It'll be 50 years next year. That'll give us enough time, and I certainly believe, because I've spoken to a few people about this, about getting a lifestyle bust of Charlie Tully in West Belfast. It has to be done, and it has to be done next year for his 50th anniversary. Now, that is the only fitting tribute that we can do here in our city. He is iconic. He is the biggest Celtic legend to come from Belfast. Even Anton Rogan will say that he was in the centenary team of '88. Charlie is just, he has to be honoured by West Belfast. He's our greatest probably sporting achievement, apart outside of our boxers in the footballing world. He's
honestly, it's bringing tears to my eyes, Tony. I'm not lying.
Oh,
thank you.
Oh, it has to be done. And we have to make a big effort as well as finding out where his memorabilia has gone throughout the years as well. Just for the museum and for yourselves as a family, just to know where it is and give you peace of mind. So Celtic supporters out there, if you know of anything, please get in touch with me. If you want to do it privately, you know there's the wee private button there. Just send me a wee message and I'll pass it all on to Charlie Jr. here. So please get in touch. Now, so definitely, hopefully, you know what Celtic supporters are like. When they get together, they can make things happen.
Oh, fantastic! Honestly, brilliant. There's nothing like them now. Honestly,
yeah,
they're the best in the world.
And when he finally left Celtic, and that would have been 1950, 52, 50. No, sorry, 58 season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep, that he had finally left.
1958.
He went to Cork.
He wrote an autobiography called Pass to You.
Yep. Here, I believe that turned up.
And sorry?
I believe the transcript of that turned up, the original transcript.
Yes, it did.
Yes.
Yeah. And I've since acquired all the rights to it, so I'm planning to have it back in print and to add some new chapters to it.
Oh, brilliant. That is superb news. I'm glad, because wee bits and pieces maybe start to flow in as well. I'm going to make it because with this lockdown as well, I'm going to contact a few people. I'm going to go, well, next year's 50 years. This can be done.
Yeah, 50 years. So in 1958, when he wrote the book, he was summoned before the Celtic board.
Right.
He was reprimanded and told that basically his Celtic career was over.
Right, and it would have been over the book as well. The book would play a part in it?
Mainly because of the book.
Oh, right.
And I understand from my late mum, Carrie, God bless her, and God rest her, he came home that night and cried.
Unreal. That's how much he loved the Celtic.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, that stunned me. It stunned me because I never knew that. But his legacy, you know what I mean? I don't weighs all these people who sit in boardrooms, because we don't remember them. We remember the people who actually got out onto the pitch. And
Tony, I have to tell you, in July 1971, when my dad died, Glasgow Celtic wanted to bring the whole team to the funeral, but they were told by the RUC that they couldn't guarantee their safety.
All right, but like the Celtic team when they played Linfield a few years ago, they said the very same thing. God, nothing changes, eh?
Sean Fallon came over with Big Jock, and they stayed in the Europa Hotel under false names. And Billy McNeil spoke to me at the graveside. Now, I have to say, I was 20 years of age, I had a younger brother and sister. My dad died at 47 years of age, suddenly without warning. And Billy said to me, Charlie, I just want to give you my telephone number. If you ever need anything, give me a ring. And innocently, I looked at him and said, sorry, Mr. McNeil, but I don't understand. what would I need?
Right.
And he said, you can't realise what your dad means to Glasgow Celtic, what he has done, what he's achieved. In years to come, when you grow older, you'll understand. And about 15 years later, I met Billy. He was finished playing then. He was running a pub in Glasgow. I was taken by a friend to see him. And the first thing he said to me, Tony, was, Charlie, you never rang me.
Oh, not a shame. Yeah. But here, that's what kind of family you were. You know what I mean? He's never sought the put the hand out or anything like that, or can you get me this, can you get me that? You were just a great family.
We were just ordinary folk, Tony, trying to honour a wee boy from the Falls Road who became a legend. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. And they've got a plaque up down in McDonald Street from your old home as you're one down there?
I don't think it, no.
Is there not one?
There's one at St James's Road, Tony.
I know the ones at St James. I see that all the time when I'm walking up.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, well, I thought
and
about
the
one
number
at
of
the
people
birth
that come there and get a photograph or stop and have a look at it is incredible. Together with the grave too, because
are you still in
it's
that house?
unbelievable the number of people that just want to get a photograph.
Yeah. Is that still a family home? At St James's?
No.
Yeah, it's been passed on since then. Right.
No,
right.
but kindly the people that are there have been fantastic. They're wonderful, very understanding, and they respect just what we're trying to do in memory.
Yeah. It's great to see the Belfast Celtic plaques all around the city with former homes of great players.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, keep it up. You're doing a marvellous job keeping the name of Belfast Celtic alive. And you've got me into it. Well, my father got me into it, but the likes of your father there just keeps the momentum going. Your father's name, and it's been passed on to my son. He's only 19 now, and he's got his whole life in front of him to promote this as well.
Oh, isn't that marvellous? Honestly, thank you.
Here, I tell you what, it's been an absolute honour and a privilege to speak to you, Charlie. It has been. Our love to
Tony,
you.
if I could take a wee opportunity before I go,
Yes.
just to mention something on behalf of the Belfast Celtic Society.
Yes.
I hope you don't think it's you of me.
You take all the time you want, Charlie.
You've got such a huge loyal Celtic audience out there. Perhaps I could just let the folk know that on the Belfast Celtic Facebook, on the 15th of Friday, 15th of May, round about 8 o'clock, we're going to be doing a series of lectures on Belfast Celtic.
Right, great.
Every Friday from the 15th of May for about 3 or 4 weeks.
Excellent. I'll share that onto the streams as well. I'll definitely do that.
And perhaps it's something, Tony, that, again, not being too cheeky, that I could link up with you with maybe sometime in the future when we could maybe do a wee Belfast Celtic session if that was permissible.
Certainly, you come up here. You'll sit in here. We have a Celtic room in here, and your father's pictures are over it as well. It'd be an honour to have you up here, Charlie. An absolute honour.
Thank you. So if I can just have a great big hail shout out to all the Celtic fans all over the world listening in tonight, just to say a big thank you, an honour and a privilege to come on and to be able to talk about my dad, and to thank you personally for having me.
The pleasure's all mine. Pleasure's all Declan's. It's been amazing to have you in here. Absolutely amazing. And of course, we will do our damnedest to try and track down some of the memorabilia of Charlie. And of course, it's even speaking to you now, it's given me the energy to go and to be saying 50 years next year to get something really special done for Charlie in West Belfast.
Thank you. And if I can just say to everybody, please, in these difficult times, stay safe, stay in touch, speak to each other, particularly us old folk. It's always great to have a natter and a bit of crack, especially Celtic crack.
Oh, brilliant. And this avenue's always open to you anyway, Charlie. We could go on here and speak for hours and hours and hours about your father. But we've done the first one, so hopefully we'll do our research, and we'll do a few. We'll concentrate one in Belfast Celtic, and we'll do one in Glasgow Celtic some night, and we'll fire it online.
That would be an honour and a privilege.
Brilliant
and thank
stuff.
you again.
We're going
God bless everybody.
God bless you. All the best, Charlie. And don't forget, I'm going to do your
Thanks,
father.
Declan. Take care, son.
No problem,
Bye.
Charlie. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, night. That, of course, was the great Charlie Tully's son, and that was Charlie Tully Jr. And he was, wow. I'm emotional as well, because I'm emotional for remembering my dad and how good my dad was with Charlie as well, and some of the memories that he's speaking about there. It's hit you from the inside, and you could hear that when he speaks about his dad, there's none but love and admiration for what he achieved in his sporting life.